Welcome to Gist Dish TV, your ultimate gist corner. Before we go deep into this emotional Nollywood moment, I beg do well to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and stay locked in with us. Stories like this don't always come with noise or scandal, but trust me, this one gets weight. Ruth Kadiri came online on a quiet day. No announcement. No hype. No countdown. Just her phone camera, and a heart that was clearly full. At first glance, it looked like one of those come-check-in live celebrities do once in a while. But as the minutes rolled by, it became obvious that this was something deeper, something personal, something she had probably been holding in for a long time. She started by smiling softly, greeting people as they joined. Her voice was steady at first, but there was something in her eyes that told a different story. You could tell she wasn't there to promote a movie, defend herself, or address rumors. She was there for one reason only: gratitude. Not long after she began speaking, the emotions came rushing in. Her voice cracked. She paused. And then the tears came. Right there on live, Ruth Kadiri broke down, not out of pain, not out of heartbreak, but out of overwhelming thankfulness to God for seeing her through the year. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't forced. It was the kind of breakdown that comes when someone finally exhales after holding their breath for too long. She kept repeating the same words over and over again, almost like she was reminding herself as much as she was telling her viewers, God has been faithful to me. God has been so faithful. For someone like Ruth, who is known to be strong, composed, and private, this moment hit differently. This is a woman who has carried herself with grace for years in an industry that can be brutal. She rarely complains. She rarely explains herself. She lets her work speak. So to see her openly emotional was a reminder that even the strongest people have moments when gratitude overwhelms them. She spoke about the year slowly, carefully, as if revisiting memories one by one. She admitted that the year was not easy. That there were moments she felt stretched thin. Moments she had to juggle work, family, responsibility, expectations, and pressure all at once. Moments when she questioned herself silently. Moments when she went on set smiling while dealing with unseen stress behind the scenes. But through it all, she said, God never left her. What really caught people's attention was when she began talking about her movie projects. According to her, every single project she worked on this year turned into what she described as 2 deals. Not just good deals. Not just manageable ones. Deals that were bigger than she imagined. Opportunities that came with favor, ease, and growth. She explained that some projects came at times when she didn't even feel like pushing anymore. Times when she was tired and considering slowing down. And yet, offers would come from unexpected places. Doors would open without struggle. Negotiations would work out smoothly. Things that usually take months of stress would align almost effortlessly. She said there were moments she would sit back and ask herself, is this really happening? Not because she didn't work hard, but because she could clearly see the hand of God in the outcomes. As she spoke, tears kept falling. She didn't bother wiping them away quickly. She allowed herself to feel it all. She allowed the moment to be real. She thanked God for provision. For protection. For peace. For wisdom. For strength. For grace. For the ability to keep creating even when it was hard. She thanked God for her children, her family, and the people who stood by her quietly without demanding explanations. She also acknowledged the weight of being a producer in Nollywood. How it's not just about acting anymore, but about carrying an entire production on your shoulders. Crew welfare. Timelines. Budgets. Expectations. Criticism. She admitted that many people only see the finished film, not the sleepless nights, the planning, the sacrifices. There was a point during the live when she paused for a long time. You could tell she was trying to gather herself. When she finally spoke again, she said something that resonated deeply with many viewers. Sometimes, you're doing everything right, but it still feels heavy. That doesn't mean God isn't there. That line alone sparked thousands of comments. People began sharing their own struggles in the comment section. young filmmakers, actors, mothers, business owners, people who felt tired, unseen, or stuck. Many said watching her cry made them feel less alone. Made them feel like their own silent battles mattered too. What made the leave even more powerful was the absence of bitterness. Ruth didn't complain about anyone. She didn't blame the industry. She didn't drag colleagues. She didn't speak with resentment. Everything she said came from a place of peace and maturity. She even mentioned that she's learned to trust God's timing more than ever. That not everything has to happen at once. That rest is also part of obedience. That growth doesn't always come with noise. At some point, she laughed through her tears and said she couldn't even count the number of times God surprised her this year. She described moments she prayed quietly and saw answers come faster than expected. Moments when she didn't even know what to pray for, yet things still worked out. Viewers noticed how calm she looked despite crying. It wasn't the cry of someone broken by hardship, but the cry of someone overwhelmed by mercy. As the live went on, Nollywood colleagues started joining. Some dropped heart emojis. Some typed short prayers. Some simply wrote, "God is faithful." There was no drama, no gossip, no distraction. Just collective respect. She ended the live by encouraging people not to give up on themselves or their dreams. She reminded viewers that seasons change, even when it feels slow. That God sees the work done in private. That consistency matters. Her final words were simple, but heavy. If you're still standing today, you have a reason to thank God. When the live ended, clips started circulating almost immediately. Not because it was sensational, but because it was sincere. People weren't sharing it for clout. They were sharing it because it felt real. In an industry often filled with noise, Ruth Kadiri chose stillness. In a space where people compete for attention, she chose gratitude. And in doing so, she reminded everyone that success isn't just about achievements, it's about surviving the journey with your faith intact. This was not a performance. This was not content. This was a woman pausing to acknowledge God. And sometimes, that is the most powerful story of all. If this moment touched you in any way, drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Gist Dish TV, because here, we don't just talk about what's trending, we talk about what's real.